Hey everyone, my name is Nikki, and I'm going to be doing my presentation on John Fletcher's play, The Woman's Prize, or The Tamer Tamed. And this play is basically about a woman who refuses to submit to her husband, in short, but I will go into greater detail later on. Okay, so I just wanted to give everyone a little bit of background information about John Fletcher. Obviously, he was a Jacobean playwright because this is the class that we're taking. He was born in 1579 and he died in 1625. He wrote mostly comedies and a few tragedies, but from what I saw, like online and in the book, it seems like he mainly did comedies, but he did a few like tragedies as well, and some that were kind of mixed together. And also, I thought it was interesting that he helped Shakespeare write Henry VIII, or he kind of collaborated with him a little bit. And he also wrote plays like The Pilgrim and The Mad Lover. Okay, now I'm going to go into the main characters in the play. I'm not going to go over all of the characters just because in a presentation, it's I I can't go. I don't want to go into too much detail, but I thought that I would focus on the main characters. So in the play, we have the character Petruchio. Basically, Petruchio, he was married to a woman named Catherine before he was married to Maria. Um, and basically, both of the women were kind of that he was married to were kind of independent and strong. And Maria is the second wife of Petruchio. Livia is a woman that Maria worked with in the play that they kind of like group up together to kind of combat the men in society and in their marriages. Roland is the man that Livia wants to marry, and Moroso is the terrible man that Livia does not want to marry, in short. In this play, Petruchio was originally married to Catherine, but she died, and then he remarried Maria. And both women were very against being controlled by a man because they were both very independent women. Uh, Petruchio would constantly make Maria feel bad if she wanted to be independent. Well, she got sick of it one day and she got a bunch of women together who were also married, and they basically vowed to not have sex with their husbands until they changed their attitudes. Um, these women hid themselves away with what they needed on like the second floor of Maria's home, and their husbands were not happy about that, but they basically like hid away from them. And then we go on like onward in the play. Maria just she continually uses this as a failsafe to kind of get what she wants from her husband. Finally, Petruchio gets tired of like doing things for his wife, and his wife like refusing to do things with him. And so basically, he pretends to be sick to try to get his wife to like feel sorry for him. But Maria like figures it out. Basically, it's pretty funny. So she kind of like makes it to where he kind of gets locked up in a room, and she convinces people that he has like the bubonic plague, basically, and he's like locked up for all of Act 3, I think. It takes him until Act 4 until he can get out, basically, of that situation. And I know that in the before I said that he was up for most of Act 3, like hold up, but actually it was like more for like part of it. But basically, it was just funny because she made everyone think that he had the plague, and he just wanted her to think that he was sick to kind of make her feel bad for abstaining from uh, making love from him. And he just wanted like her pity, and he wanted her to give up on her um, goal of like being more equal in their marriage and him not being so controlling towards her. But anyways, in Act 4, after Petruchio eventually finds his way get out of the house and stuff, and he's no longer pretending to be sick in Act 4, but basically his wife is acting like a prostitute on purpose and flirting with his friends. She gets really like flirty with his friends, and like she's just really like dressed for attention. And this really makes Petruchio angry, and he just says that he's going to leave and like go, travel the world and stuff. And basically Maria's just like, well, you can go, but maybe you'll come back and, be better than who you are now, because Maria was was very much into winning this battle. She was not going to give up what she wanted out of this. And that was, to be treated with more respect and to not be dominated all the time. In Act 5, basically, Petruchio fakes his own death. He fakes his own death, and his wife is upset, but she gives this big speech on how he's this person, and like, but he was a man, but he wasn't like the best man ever, and he wasn't the smartest man. And basically, it was kind of funny because Petruchio just basically like sits up during a funeral in his coffin. He's shocked by her, and basically after this like really intense scene of her, like, basically she said that she loved him and like everything, and she's crying because he died. But like, I think that she realized how much she loved him, and he realized like her passions as well. So like in this play, after he fakes his death and he like wakes up, and it's like this really weird moment where he just kind of sits up in his coffin during a funeral, and it kind of creeped me out a little bit. But that's just, it was a funny moment, I guess, but I found it to be a bit much. But basically, they decide to start over with each other, and it's just kind of funny, and the play ends nicely. And I know before I mentioned Livia and Roland because they were in love. And they're kind of their character was kind of a side. Their character arcs were more side stories than anything else. But basically, like, Livia wanted to marry Roland, and like, but she was supposed to marry Moscow. And I just wanted to bring Livia up because she was able to marry Roland, basically. And I thought that that was really sweet. And then the play ended with both of the women being able to be happy and independent in the way that it's supposed to be. So it had a very happy ending, and it was very funny. Okay, so in the takeaway, I just wanted to talk about like what the play meant to me personally. I really enjoyed it. I thought that it was funny. I thought that it was lighthearted, and it was basically these two characters just fighting for, well, more importantly, Maria fighting for who she wanted to be and what she wanted out of her marriage. And I really liked Maria as a character because she didn't back down for the entire play, and she just kept on going despite whatever Patricio. And I'm so sorry if I'm saying his name wrong, but I have trouble with some of these characters' names. But anyways, I really thought that they were really good characters, and I really liked Maria. She was strong and independent, and she didn't give up. And also, I thought that for that time period, I thought that it was a very good way to look at marriage, because, like, back then, especially, this play was written in around 1647 for the play was published, and so I thought that it was interesting that like a play like this was in our book, because I thought that most of the time women had their expected roles and that wasn't questioned. But here Maria took everything to a new level, and so did Livia by not marrying who she was supposed to marry through an arranged marriage. So I thought that both of the women were very strong. And I think that today it can influence people because, times are changing, people are changing, and views on marriage are changing. And, like, it's better to be a team with your husband instead of having, or wife. I mean, it's better for married people to be more teammates than just one domineering over the other. And I think that if you guys have the time, you should definitely try to read the play yourself. Okay, so I'm going to reference something. I'm going to reference the entire epilogue because I thought that it was very insightful and just really neat. And I really liked it because I thought that it very much, like, referenced the women in the play and the men and how they were they all just played intricate roles in the play, and how they how like Maria and Petruchio kind of like came together to kind of respect each other. I only put part of the quote here because I wanted to read it out loud. But basically, it's on page 1293 of our book if you guys want to go take a look at it. So the quote is: The tamers tamed, but so as nor the men can find one just cause to complain of when they fitly do consider in their lives they should not reign as tyrants over their wives, nor can the women from this precedent insult or triumph, it being aptly meant to teach both sexes due equality, and as they stand bound to love mutually, if this effect arising from a cause well laid and grounded may deserve applause, we something more than hope our honest ends will keep the men and women too our friends. Thank you all so much for taking the time to look at my presentation, and I hope that you guys like took a lot away from it or got some good information from it. Again, take some time to read it, and I hope all of you have a great rest of the semester.